What's up, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Life's a Garden. Today's guest is the most reoccurring person to be on this show. Chances are you've seen him before, but if this happens to be your first time checking out an episode with him, he is closing in on his master's degree in psychology. He is an all-around nerd. He is one of my oldest and best friends. And for all those reasons, he's back for his 6th time. So let's get this goon in here and do it all over again. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Eric Wolf. Hey! Oh my god, dude. That was much louder than I had intended. Hey! God. What do I need to do to fix that? Okay, I think we're alright. It's like, hey! What up? God. So, welcome back to the show for your 6th time?
It's 5?
Something like that.
It's been a lot.
Yeah.
I'm here.
The most reoccurring guest. Definitely.
They love me.
Yeah. We, for everybody listening, we just got done. I mean, essentially, we kind of went on a date. Just, if you think about it.
People probably think we're gay.
I was going to say that earlier, and I totally spaced it. People probably think we're dating.
Probably those people that you were falling all over in the movie theater.
That was like
learning to walk again.
Yeah. I can't even explain how that happened. Also, the fact that I just like couldn't seem to correct what was happening.
It took a good few seconds for you to get your balance back.
I think it was just part of me was like, how is this happening? Why is this happening? I tripped over the
it's like the stairs.
Yeah, it was the stairs and the cup holder thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just stepped off the wrong step, and I was like, oh shit.
Oh, I was trying to grab you, but I was also thinking about, because you fell onto the back of a seat that, this little girl was sitting at, next to her father, and her father was just kind of
yeah.
You're just like...
Well, and I was just like, I remember saying, and it lasted way too long.
It just got awkward.
The whole ordeal lasted way too long. And I just remember saying, I was like, oh, fuck. Oh,
yeah. Well, and then, like I said, there's this, we have this, 6-year-old girl there, and I'm just like, God, what are you doing, you fucking idiot?
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm like, I should probably, control myself.
It was a very drunken moment that was fully sober.
Fully sober.
I mean, I had a beer, but...
Yeah, but...
It wasn't enough to make me just, falling down stupid.
All over. I mean, it was just because it was, close quarters, obviously. And then you're just trying to...
I was just caught off guard.
Yeah. You would have, face planted, dude.
Yeah, that was a good way to start the night. But we ended up going to see the Super Mario Brothers movie, which was... I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I hadn't even seen it yet, so this is the first time I've seen it. Great. I enjoyed it. For what it was.
I think that they did justice to the characters. The voices were good. I didn't love the voices, but they were good.
Yeah, I mean...
Some of them were better than others. The story was really cool. The references were on point. Just in the way that you would expect from Nintendo.
Well, and you can tell they're setting it up for future movies.
I was waiting to see if, at the end, they were gonna, hint at something.
I mean, I'm sure we can look up to see if there was a post-credit scene, but...
Dude, the fact that it started at the very beginning, they had, Mario and Luigi... Or they had Mario and he hit a block, and then, Mario and Luigi both came and they hit the block together, and the Nintendo logo came out. That was made specifically for the movie, and I don't believe for a second that they put all that work into that really nice title screen for one movie.
Well, and with the massive success of this, you can tell they're gonna have,
And it's made over $1 billion, dude. It's crazy.
Well, and not to mention, they've already set up for having a Donkey Kong movie now. You know, with all those characters added, and you only saw bits and pieces of you saw like a snippet of Diddy Kong, Cranky
and Trixie Kong.
Yeah, they're just like little snippets of those guys, so you know that those characters are in this.
Well, there's still so much that you can do with Mario, especially with all the spin-offs and stuff that it has. There's so many villains and storylines and things. But Zelda movie, right, Riot.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty epic.
Well, especially so today the new Zelda game came out.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's just jacked, So, dude, it's set. It's set for that movie to be really big.
Yeah, no, they've definitely set themselves up for a full franchise and the whole thing. So, new thing I'm going to start doing. So, we're now past 150 episodes of this show.
Noise.
And so, in keeping with trying to, change things up a little bit and make things a little fresh, I usually, you're a regular to the show, so you know how this operates. I like to end the shows with positive motivational message, and I still will continue to do that. But I now want to start the episodes by asking a simple question, and that is, as of today, what is something currently in your life that brings you joy, or something that has recently been bringing you joy into your life?
Okay. I probably shouldn't have to sit here and think.
Well, it could be the small. It doesn't have to be like an obvious answer, like my family. Which is
yeah, for sure. I don't want to just be like, I've been playing Elden Ring and it's really fun.
I mean, if that brings you joy, that's the answer.
I mean, that has been at the moment. That game's really good, but I mean, it's hard to say a whole lot about my job because I'm about to leave, we're about to go on summer break and everything like that. I mean, obviously, the typical things, yeah, of course, my lady brings me joy, and so does my mom.
Ma'am. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
I need to get a present.
I don't buy presents.
I'm gonna get, just some flowers and a card.
Oh, that's fairly traditional.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess flowers, you gotta do flowers. But anyway, so Elden Rings, that's the answer?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Dude, it's so good. It's so fun.
Hey, that works. I mean, whatever brings people... That's kind of the point, is it's supposed to be in the moment. It's not supposed to be what has given you joy throughout your life.
I got it.
It's more what's currently something that's giving you joy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good positive note to start off on, I think. Get the show rolling with a positive note.
And the nugs.
Oh.
The nugs are bringing me joy.
Yeah, that would be my answer.
Mm-hmm.
I have to rant on this for just a hot second.
Well, let's fucking do it.
Yeah. So, first things first, let me just say this. I will start by being the respectful aspect of it and say, great season to the Suns, Timberwolves, whatever. We're past that. I'm focusing on the last series we just had.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to the Suns for what they've done by making the trade, getting Kevin Durant, staying fairly relevant. I will give them the fact that they were hurt in this series. Chris Paul was hurt, and then for some reason, DeAndre Ayton sat out in this last game, which made no sense to me. It was pretty much giving us the game, essentially. It gave up so much for the fact that Jokic was going to be able to just dominate them.
Mm-hmm.
With all that being said, and all my congratulatories out of the way, absolutely fuck the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
For everything else.
Dude, what about that thing that happened with Joker and their owner?
Oh, yeah, that was kind of ridiculous. And honestly, it ended up being nothing. They shook hands later. And
I know. But, should it have even happened in the first place?
It was a total, clown car show. I'm just glad Jokic didn't get suspended.
That would have been insane, especially since the other guy started it.
Yeah,
What's he doing holding on to the ball?
I know. And Jokic made a good point where it's like the guy is a fan at that point. Like nobody knows who he is. Like, and if any other fan like grabbed a ball and like tried to hold on to it, it would be the duty of
he would have been kicked out.
Mhm.
You know. And I get he's an owner that's always going to have like special privileges and stuff, which is kind of shitty, but it's the way that it is.
I liked what Jokic said though. They asked him about the handshake and like they like gave a little hug and it was
like after he went and gave him the ball.
Yeah. in the next home game, and they asked him about that. And he goes, "Well, I was hoping he would pay my fine, but he's
funny.
He's great, but what absolute domination in that last game! Like 81 points. At halftime.
Yeah, they were averaging over 40 points a period.
And like you said
quarter.
before, like you said earlier today, pretty much at no point were we down by, or were we ahead by less than 20 points.
Right.
Once we gained that lead, we like never gave it back. And the turnovers. They turned the ball over, I think 8 times in the first half. We turned it over 0. That was a huge part of the game.
Yeah.
Everybody was on their P's and Q's. Like, we're playing at a very high level right now. So, to that effect, obviously, like, we are just gelling.
Mm-hmm.
And my distaste for the Suns, honestly, I would never thought I would say this. Like, I never thought this would be the case. Kevin Durant, I have nothing against Kevin Durant. Like, he got put in that situation. He had nothing but respectful things to say at the end of the series.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't, like, obviously there was, like, some chippy moments on the court. That's to be
playoff game.
It's to be expected.
And an elimination one, nonetheless.
But there isn't a bigger bitch in the entire league than Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Devin Booker can eat my dick. That guy sucks. And his stupid Amish beard. There's
his tiny beady pit bull eyes.
Yes. And I will give him the credit for those first 4 games. He truly was dominant. He was playing a level of basketball that is very rarely seen in playoff basketball. But I said it, I never said it on the show. I said it to some people during those games, and I was saying it online and stuff. I didn't believe that they would be able to sustain that level of play against the Nuggets.
You said that to me too. You're like, the fact of the matter is that like Booker and Durant both are going to have like 35, 40 point games
every single time.
Every time.
And I didn't believe, this was after game 3. I didn't believe that they could maintain that level of play. And then they did in game 4. Now granted, the 2 games we lost to them both in Phoenix, those 2 games we lost by 7 points and then 5 points. So we're in both of those games.
Well,
we dominated them twice.
Mm-hmm.
Game 1 and game 6.
The game 4 though, like when I looking at that, and obviously you know a lot more than I do about basketball, but like what I felt like I was looking at there was like the team wasn't gelling. Like Jokic had a 50-point game.
Yeah.
Had his huge triple-double and everything. And that's it, man. Like, the rest of the team was just there.
If Jokic is forced to be
to carry the whole team on his back,
we're not going to have success, because that just means everybody else isn't carrying the weight.
I think one of the things that I've noticed, like, while watching this series, and, like, I guess you can tell me more, but it seems to me like our biggest Achilles heel is 3 points.
See,
I just feel like we miss them all the time.
The wide open 3. Yeah.
And I started to think to myself, like, just get 2. Like, don't get 0.
And that seems to be the games that we're struggling in, or the ones that we're just not hitting the 3s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, game 6, we were hitting 3s. Like, we were...
Right.
Any of the games we've dominated, we're hot on 3.
Mm-hmm.
But that seems to be, like, the big difference maker. But even the games that we're not hitting 3s, we're still in them.
Right.
It's just...
I mean, yeah, we were 5 points, but can you imagine how much we would have won by if every 3 had just been a 2?
I know.
You know?
Oh, I know.
And, like, hindsight, I'm not trying to say, like, I've got the answer, because I don't know shit. But, like, I just know, like, they're, like, in game 4, you know, we're close. and we keep taking it over, trying to do a 3, we'd miss it, they'd go over and make theirs. Yeah. And I was just like, oh God, every one of them felt like a nail in the coffin, you know?
Well, and when it's a forced 3, that's when it just starts getting tough. And that's what was happening to Phoenix too, is they were having to shoot 3s, and like they were gaining no momentum because they weren't making anything.
Right.
Like momentum is a huge thing in basketball.
It's
like
a big thing for hockey too.
Yeah, once you start getting a rhythm, that's why you see runs, like 17-0 runs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is because guys, like...
I see a lot of those. It's like 17-2, and I'm like, how does that happen?
Well, it's not... It goes both ways.
Put
it's like...
the ball in the hole.
The one team is having success, so they're feeling a rhythm. Right. And then the other team is getting discouraged, so, like, shots are not going down.
Timeout.
You start making bad passes. You know, yeah, it's a whole thing. And, like, the timeout game is definitely a part of it, to, like, kill momentum or to break certain strides, yeah. And, dude, Michael Malone, best coach in the league.
It's so funny to think that, like on the Denver Nuggets subreddit, there's, like, a legion of people all the time. Every time we start struggling just a little bit, you get the Fire Malone crowd.
I don't get that. Malone is so good.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, like, that's what I hear from, like, you know, the majority. But then, yeah, you get these people that, like, come out and they just hate him, and it's the weirdest thing, man.
Well, I think he does make some odd choices when it comes to, like, certain substitutions or certain matchups. But in the end, he preaches defense. Defense wins championships.
He's gotten us to 2 Western Conference Finals.
I know, and he's a very good players coach. Like, players want to play for him.
That's a big deal, too.
It is, yeah. If you can get a guy that the players want to band behind, that's a leading head coach.
Speaking of, like, community, like locker room community, I guess. This isn't really super related, but I wanted your perspective on this as a Broncos fan. So in, I think, Game 5, they showed Cale Makar on the Jumbotron.
Yes.
And, like, everybody started getting all, like, excited, and they were cheering. And then they showed Russell Wilson, and everybody was, like, either, like, silent or booing. Like, and it seems... Now, like, I'm not a Broncos fan. I know what happened to the Broncos last year. I know how excited we were for Russell Wilson and how that really did not work out. But, like, man, it just seems to me like Denver fans are just brutal to him.
Denver fans are brutal in general. Like,
I mean, you ain't Philadelphia, but...
I wish Denver fans would be a little bit more brutal to the Rockies and just stop going to the fucking games.
Yeah, I think that we've all just given up.
It's the only way that they're going to get them to stop, that they're going to make some changes, if people just stop going to those games.
Stop giving them money.
But
I guess they've won 8 of their last 10, though.
Yeah, they always do that every year. That's not going to mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever to me.
Yeah, baseball's whatever. But anyway, yeah, football, it's so crazy how, like, I love football, and I'm a huge Broncos fan, and I love Broncos country.
You're kidding.
But but Broncos fans really annoy me, especially the ones that go to games, because they are very quick to turn against you. Like, they did it to Manning.
Dude, yeah.
Like, there was times they would boo Manning.
Broncos fans too, man. Broncos fans are the funniest crew, and maybe, like, this is just how it is everywhere when it's, like, the primary market. But, like, every Broncos fan, like, I mean, you've done this before too. Like the typical evolution of a Broncos fan, like, throughout the season. Like, a few weeks before the season, you're like, I think we're going to do pretty good. And then after the first couple games, you're like, we're going to win the championship. And then, like, it's like, well, maybe the Chiefs are going to give us a little bit of trouble, but we're going to split the season series with them. And then, like, halfway through the season, you're like, we suck, burn the whole fucking thing down. I hate my life.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm always...
It's just the roller coaster.
I'm the ever optimist in any time. And,
well, you have to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's... If you're not, then are you really a fan of that team? But to go back to your thing about the fans booing Russ, I think that boils more down to just, like, everybody likes a win here. You know,
Right.
so you're gonna cheer Cale Makar. They were the Stanley Cup champs.
Well, yeah, I mean that was obviously a slow pitch. Like whatever about Cale Makar, but like I was just thinking about like there is no love for Russell Wilson, and I know that he had a hard season, and you guys expected a lot more out of him and everything, but man,
Yeah.
I feel like most of Broncos country, if you guys like found out that he got like hit by a car and died, you guys would be like,
He freaking rolled over a golf cart and almost got hurt doing
Yeah.
that. But for me, in my opinion,
Mhm.
you got to support your quarterback. Like you got to know he's not going anywhere.
he's the backbone of your whole team, and like he's so highly paid, huge contract, like he's gonna be here.
It does nothing for us to be against him. Like you can not like the decision, or you can like be bitter about the way the season ended, and that's fine.
I mean, was
But
it
in-
him?
It was a part. He definitely played a part.
I mean, I feel like what I was hearing was
It was
that
mostly coaching.
yeah, I mean that's what I was gonna say too. Like, and I know that they got rid of him,
Thank God.
but like
That's interesting that they would boo too, though, because Sean Payton was sitting there too.
my understanding was that Russell Wilson excels in a very specific kind of offensive game, and we refuse to play that game. Like he's a mobile quarterback, and I don't remember, like, it's football terms, but like it was something about like there was just a certain style, I don't remember if it was like I think what it was that he's really good with like being mobile and then like doing short passes, and they kept trying to make him do long passes, and that's just not what he does.
The game plan was not there. The coaching had no clue how to use Wilson to his advantages.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But in all fairness, like Russ does deserve a level of blame, like
Right.
because Russ.
I'm not out here like trying to like stump for him or anything.
Oh, I
don't
know.
even
I mean,
know.
trust me. I'm definitely more on the train that the coaching staff deserved the brunt of the blame.
Mhm.
But I mean, you're still the quarterback of the team. Like if you know something's stupid, you should have the guts to be like call an audible on the field.
Mhm.
Be like, this is what we're doing. He's not that guy. Like he's a
Right.
he's a doer, not like he if you tell him to do something, he'll do it. But he's not gonna like go against the grain.
He's not like Tom Brady.
Brady, like all the greats, Brady, Manning, Rodgers, all those guys are known for
Like on-field coaching.
yeah. And Russ just has never been that guy.
Mhm.
But you gotta put him into a place of success. Another thing Russ did that was not very good. He came in very overweight to training.
Yeah,
like
I remember that.
like throughout the season, he did not look in like a
He
football.
wasn't conditioned.
For whatever reason, I couldn't tell you why that would be, but he's always been like stocky,
Mhm.
but he's also been kind of lean, and he
Right.
just looked more
Kind of fat.
like too stocky.
Mhm.
Like he was putting on too much weight to be a mobile quarterback,
Hmm.
or like a guy that scrambles in the pocket, and so he got caught a lot in like getting sacked and stuff. So I think Sean Payton will definitely be able to at least start building us in the right direction. I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
next year we're gonna like be just
Yeah.
like a total 180,
It would
but
be a big change to go from where you were at to like something really like big and competitive.
dude, if we can at least like compete for the playoffs, I'm not even saying get to the playoffs, but if we can like be in the hunt,
Mm-hmm.
that's a win in my book because we haven't even been remotely in the hunt for the last 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm ready to get back. That's that's my sport. But nonetheless, I've thoroughly enjoyed watching the Nuggets and
And that's what's going on right now.
well, and previously watching the Avs have success.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a debacle this year, but
Well, I mean, there was so much stuff working against us. It's stupid. Like starting from the very beginning, like the fact that we just didn't seem interested in pursuing any kind of replacement for Kadri. I mean, obviously there was the thing with Landeskog being gone, and that's a major.
by the way, are you so excited that he's missing another year?
I'm not surprised. I mean, honestly, after everything that happened this year, I was more curious about whether or not he would be coming back at all.
Well,
like
okay, here's a question though.
this knee problem. Is a
Why
major
didn't he
deal.
get this surgery months ago?
I think they were trying to make it so that he could come back, and it just continually, because they never really announced that he wasn't going to be coming back for the whole season. You know, they just kept saying like he'll be back in November, he'll be back in February. It was February for a long time, then it was March, and then it was just like, okay, yeah, he's just not coming back. And I think that they were really trying. So I like this surgery is intensive, but it's also one that might not make it so that he can come back. You know, they're hoping it's got a likelihood, but it's also got a likelihood of him not coming back.
It seems it definitely seems to me that he would come back on his if he can, he will.
Oh, he will.
Yeah.
Like if he can, you know. And he'll do everything in his power to make it so that he can, you know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That was definitely like a big I mean, obviously that's a huge thing for like last season is not having our captain. Like that's really big. He's a big part of the success that we have, and you can even see it in previous seasons, the times when he's injured and not really with the team. We struggle. And then, you know, we didn't have a replacement for Kadri, and that's a big deal. Kadri was a huge part of us winning the cup, you know. Our depth was very much changed. You know, Helm was gone. We had all of the injuries throughout the entire regular season, and that, I mean, that's something. But we still won our division. But when it came to the playoffs, you know, that was when it really, like, started to show that we didn't have depth. We had McKinnon, and we had Rantanen, and that's it. You know, we had Nichushkin for a game or two. And then we had him for 2 games. And that, goodness.
God, I hate that. I like, did you see I barely touched it?
Don't do it again, though.
I won't.
That was pretty gnarly.
That's scared me.
And we had Nichushkin for a couple games, then everything happened with him. And then we really, like, we didn't have anything. Like, our bottom 6 forwards had nothing. Nothing. You know?
Yeah.
You can't win like that.
Definitely makes it tough. But there's always next year. And it's hard.
We're going to have to make some serious changes. We have so many free agents.
Really?
Oh, man. It's
like
huge. Nobody, like, you know, like, not
We
McKinnon
locked in the core.
Or, not McKinnon, not Kale, not Ranson, and not any of those guys. It's like a lot of our depth people. Comfer's one of them, and he matters. But yeah,
and I imagine we don't have a ton of cap space.
We're gonna, and if those guys all leave, and not to mention we're also going to be putting Landeskog on long-term injured reserve, which means that his cap space will be freed up for somebody else.
Oh,
so that's $7 million right there. So it's not. We're actually going to have decent space. Does that mean that I think that we're going to be able to just build a great team? I don't think so. Here's the list of our UFAs and RFAs. So JT Compher, Matt Nieto, Evan Rodriguez, Lars Eller, Andrew Cogliano, Darren Helm, Eric Johnson, Jack Johnson, Alex Newhook, Dennis Mulligan, and Bowen Byram.
I gotta imagine they're gonna sign
We're gonna sign Bo.
They'll sign a decent amount of those guys.
I mean, honestly, out of all of those, okay, so here's what I think. Compher we're gonna sign. Nieto's gone. Rodriguez, I think, is gone. Lars Eller's gone. Cogliano's retiring. He broke his neck.
Shit.
Well, Jordan Eberle broke his neck and didn't get anything more than a 2-minute penalty for, like, brutally boarding.
Oh, I actually remember seeing that, yeah.
After Kale got suspended for touching that one guy and he got hurt somehow. So anyway, Cogliano's not coming back. Helm, I think, might be the same. I think that he might be retiring. Eric Johnson is probably going to retire. Jack Johnson, I don't think, is coming back. Alex Newhook, I hope to God isn't coming back. Dennis Mulligan, I want to come back. Like, he seemed like a really good depth forward. There were some times that we put him on.
What's wrong with Newhook?
He sucks and I hate him. That's what's wrong with him. No, I mean, he just is very disappointing. Like, he just doesn't do anything. He makes in my opinion, I felt like I saw him make a lot of poor choices. Like, just not good hockey sense, no confidence. He was supposed to be Kadri's replacement. And as you may recall from earlier, I said that there was no replacement for him. Like, he was not it, man. He just was not good to me.
Who is the starting line for us?
Like, starting 5 or the starting 3?
Starting 3.
Starting 3, without Landeskog.
Yeah.
Is McKinnon centering Rantanen and Arturi Lehkonen,
Ah, okay.
which
Okay.
kind of kicks ass.
So here's a question for you: do you think we go maybe get like a pretty big name free agent?
I mean, that's kind of what they're talking about. The one that fans, I mean, nobody from the Avs has said what their plan is, like in typical hockey fashion. But what the fans are talking about, and I think I probably support this, is they're thinking about targeting Ryan O'Reilly,
Really?
who used to be with us,
Mhm.
and then he went to the
Long time ago.
and then he went to like
Buffalo.
the Sabres, and then he was with the Blues, and now he's with the Leafs. But he was only a rental for the Leafs, which they're out now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so he's going to be a free agent. And I mean, he's a veteran. He's old. It's not going to be a big contract, and it's not going to be a move for our future. And like some people have talked about, like, no, let's not get those kinds of people. Let's get people for our future. But the fact of the matter is that the cup window is now. So I think that I agree with Ryan O'Reilly. He's got 1 or 2 more years in him for sure. He's good. And he'll be somebody who, if we do get a few future guys, he'll be a good, like, veteran mentor for them.
Well, and it's a temporary replacement anyway for Landeskog in that sense. So,
And I think Ryan O'Reilly is a good replacement for Landy's style too. You
okay.
know.
Any other names pop out or?
There hasn't really been a whole lot talked about yet. So I don't necessarily know who's all going to be like our big name free agents.
Fuck.
Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure who it's going to be, but I think that they are going to go for a big name. At least one. We have plenty of space, and if a bunch of those guys leave, I mean, none of those were major players, other than Bo Byram. Bo Byram matters.
Pretty sure the Mario sequel is going to include Waluigi and Wario.
I was thinking about that too. Like, that they just didn't show up at all. I thought it was cool they had Spike, who was the bad guy from Wrecking Crew. Like I said, he even had a hat that said Wrecking Crew on it. The references were just so good.
Dude, I loved that. Well, I liked, spoiler alerts for anybody here, but the wedding scene and King Bomb was just snoozing.
Yeah, it's perfect because that's him, you know. I like that Bowser's like groom suit that he had. So in Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch, you had all these different like outfits that you could get for Mario, and like they had this for Bowser because that was the premise of that one, is that he stole her and was forcing her into a wedding. I didn't finish it, so I don't know how it went, but he had that exact same groom suit on. You know?
Really?
So once again, reference game on point. I think her outfit was the same too.
That's funny.
'Cause
Yeah.
she had
Well,
the
and
bright
how about
outfit in
like
that
the
one.
stained glass window?
Dude, Peach's castle is just amazing looking. Like
Yeah.
in the movie, in the games, everywhere. It just looks so good, and it was so perfect in the movie. That stained glass window was spot on, which is just fantastic. I saw one part there when he was in the beginning where he's running through the castle. They had one of the paintings on the wall that, I mean, it wasn't exact.
It looked like a snow.
Yeah, it wasn't exact from like Mario 64, but you could tell that
It was
like,
meant to be kind of
they
like
thought of it, you know. It would have been cool if it would have been like exact. I don't know why, but the one that I was thinking I would see as a painting for some reason was Tall Mountain.
Why?
I don't know. It just seemed right to me somehow. I got like no reason. Just out of all of them, I felt like that would be the one that I would see.
All right. This is a perfect time to move on to a new segment that we tried to implement once upon a time with you.
Yes.
And then I just never did. But now I'm going to try and make it a staple segment of the show.
Starting today?
Yes.
Oh,
I told you that we're going into a new
era.
Yeah, I'm trying to add some freshness to this.
With your boy Elwick.
Speaking of fresh, the name of this segment is Fresh Picks.
Okay.
So, we're going to pick our top 3, the top 3 tier list, your own personal. We don't got to agree on this.
Okay.
Today's topic, Mario games.
Okay. So a top 3, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Your top 3 Mario games.
Okay. I've got 1 and 2, no problem.
I got 1. Let me see here. I got 2. And there's 3.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Coming in at a solid number 3. It's going to be Mario 3.
Mm-hmm. Mario 3 is so good.
Yeah.
Dude, and the secrets in that one, like, there are places where, like, if you're running really fast, you'll go behind the mountains that are, like, part of the backdrop, and you can find, like, all the different little items, like the clouds and stuff that you can get.
Well, and then, like, you got the ship.
The art
Level
of, like, the pixel art of that game looks so cool, too. Like, there's really no game that's ever looked like that, you know?
We're talking about the same one, right?
We're talking about like Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah.
Like the one with
the
like
Tanuki suit.
Yeah, the Tanuki suit.
Okay.
The one where you have like the little map and it has the Hammer
Yeah,
Bros
yeah,
and you
yeah,
can fight
okay,
and stuff.
okay.
Yeah, that one.
I liked all the little mini games in there. And then also, you know what scared the shit out of me was that sun.
That sun, dude. He's coming for you. Dude, honestly, so when I think of Mario music, obviously the obvious ones come to mind, which are usually just like the ones from the original one. But outside of that, there's only 2 other songs that are always I think about for Mario songs, and one of them is from Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, but the other one is from Super Mario 3, and I think it's just World 1 where it's like do 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 do.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Do 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 do.
Yeah,
do.
It's so good.
Bling. Don't
That
yeah,
exactly.
Or what's the one I always remember is the sand level was like.
Mm-hmm. You know what I think is a super underrated Mario music from Super Mario 64? The Bowser levels. That are like do 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 do.
Yeah.
Do like.
I mean, Super Mario
so cool.
64 had the best music. Like.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, so number 3 is Super Mario Brothers 3.
Sliding in at number 2 would be Super Mario World.
Okay.
Still just
so,
like
the Super Nintendo one, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The introduction of Yoshi.
Yes, and it was
in Mario.
It's just an all-time classic. Like I remember playing that a lot. And you already know my number 1 is going to be one of the all-time greatest games of all time, and that's Super Mario 64.
Yeah. Dude, Super Mario 64 is absolutely iconic. It's funny to think that my list is not going to include Super Mario Brothers either. Like the original,
yeah.
You know, the game that literally saved the entire industry of video games. But it just suffers by comparison. It's a great game. You can beat it in like 4 minutes.
I mean, it's a staple.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, it's the template that all of the other ones are built on.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's mine. Number 3 is Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh.
It's so good, dude.
It is.
It's so good. Number 2 is Super Mario 64.
I thought you were going to just repeat my list. Actually, you know what? I already know what your number 1 is.
And for me, number 1 is Super Mario Galaxy.
Yep.
Dude, it's so good.
I might put that in there if I played it more.
I think, yeah. No. We should sometime. I have it. Like, we can play it anytime.
Also,
on my
it's
Wii
hard
U.
to, like, honorable mention Super Mario Kart 8.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't necessarily thinking too much about, like, the spin-offs. Like, that gets really hard, because, like, the RPGs are really good. The sports games are fantastic.
I mean, Mario Party.
But honestly, like, if we're going to do spin-offs, it's going to be Mario Kart is tops, Mario Party's second.
Dr. Mario?
Oh, jeez, so much. No, Super Mario Galaxy, for me, the thing that really makes it so good to me was, like, for one thing, I had just recently gotten my Nintendo Wii, and I knew that was the game that I really, really wanted for it. Like, I was way into Mario right when I got the Wii. And so I got that game, and I was ready for it to just be this amazing experience. So I was already primed to love it. But for me, like, what made it such a big deal is that, like, you kind of seem to level design looks like, right? Where you're like on these little like floating islands and you're running around them and like gravity's changing and you're doing all these things. And like I don't think that there's ever been a game that's made me more like awestruck at the fact that it was even possible. Like I just couldn't believe that kind of level design was possible. The way that the camera was working to like let me run around these tiny little worlds, and the way that everything was built together in such a way that like if you look at a level, it just looks like a bunch of bullshit floating around. But then once you're actually going through it, it all makes sense, you know? They have the boss battles like in the perfect places. They're really cool. They're intuitive. The Bowser battles are really good. Obviously, I really think that the character of Rosalina is great, which like isn't something that's standard for Mario games. Like, how many times have you walked away from a Mario game going, "I really liked any of those characters"? You know, you like the gameplay.
Yeah.
But they did a really good job of like making her mysterious, and then like you get to see like her backstory as she's like reading this little storybook to like the Lumas, and like this, like they show the storybook with like these like really cool like fairy tale style paintings and everything, and it just feels so emotional, I guess, you know. And so like not only was it just a fun Mario game with level design that blew me away, but I also felt a little like emotional from it. Like when I got Super Mario 64, or when I got Super Mario Galaxy, and I've said this to everyone who's ever heard me talk about this game, that was one of the very few periods of my life where, like, from the moment that I woke up to the moment that I went to bed, I was only doing two things. And and those two things were either playing Super Mario Galaxy or thinking about playing Super Mario Galaxy. That was the only two things that were knocking around in this noggin.
Fair enough.
It's good. It's a good game.
Bonus quick picks. Real quick.
Fresh picks, right?
Or did I say quick picks?
Yep.
Fresh picks.
Fresh picks.
Yeah.
Dick's out for fresh picks.
Fresh dicks. Here we go. So, top 3 Mario 64 levels.
Top 3 Mario 64 levels.
Just because there's, like, that's one we can both, like.
Dude, Rainbow Road, the clock, and the one where you have to fly with the wing cap. Just kidding, they all suck.
The clock one isn't terrible.
The clock is cool. It's just really like hard.
Yeah, and so is the rainbow one.
Especially if you don't know to change the time to make it slower. Okay, top 3. Here we go.
I mean,
okay. Real quick, let me tell you. Here's my least favorite.
Wait, can I guess?
Yes.
I can tell you mine.
I fucking despise.
Okay, on 3, we're gonna say it because I think we agree.
Okay, we'll see. Ready?
1, 2, 3. Dire Docks.
Nope, I was gonna say Hazy Maze Cave.
Wait, which one's Dire Docks?
Dire Docks is the one with like the submarine.
Yep, fuck that one.
Yeah, no, that one.
Fuck
that one's
that
not
one.
fun either. But no, dude, I despise Hazy Maze Cave. It's gross looking. I don't like the enemies. It's confusing.
The music
it's
sucks in that one, too.
stupid. It's dumb. I hate it.
It is a pretty rough one.
Reasons for hating a Hazy Maze Cave. Number 1, I hate it.
Number 1, it sucks.
Yeah.
Dude, that one sucks too because it's hard to get the 100 coins.
Yeah, dude. Like, the actual maze thing sucks. You know what? Okay, I do just remember exactly what makes me hate it so bad. Because like there are some cool things. Obviously, you get the metal cap in it. That one's really cool. You meet Plessy like down in the bottom, and that's like it's a fun discovery when you see it, especially if you're a Pokemon fan because it looks like Lapras. But literally, my least favorite part in that whole
Is the
game
Hazy Maze?
is not the Hazy Maze. That sucks too, but it's very short, and I kind of remember what it looks like.
It sucks because like it.
No, dude, the elevator with the arrows. You have to press the little arrows,
yeah.
and you have to jump over the shit that makes you fall off, and you hit the fucking walls, and it shakes all over the place. I hate it!
Okay, so let's go back to your favorite ones.
Yes. Okay.
Hang on, I got one.
Okay, do it.
So I'm gonna give number 3. I'm gonna give my honorable mention to the clock, just because it is unique.
It is cool.
Number 3, it's the most classic one. It's It's the first level.
Bob-omb Battlefield.
Yeah, I mean,
It is really
dude,
cool,
Okay,
man.
I just remembered this, and I need to tell you this now that we're just talking about this. I had a dream the other day that I was in that level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was in the Super Mario world, but it was specifically that level,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have Mario powers,
Yeah.
and I had
Oh,
to,
God.
and I had to get
Like
the,
Chain Chomp coming after you and the bombs flying all
Yeah.
over and the water bombs. And,
like, it was still the same, like, animation. You know, it was still, like, it wasn't, like, real life, that world, if you can imagine.
yeah,
Like,
I
just-
get it.
Yeah.
What's the music? It's like... Dun 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 dun
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
But anyway, in my dream, I had to get all 8 red coins.
I remember. I know where all of them are.
I do too.
There's one over the elevator. There's one in the little mountain thing over back by
There's
where
one
the
in the
cannon
cage.
is. There's
in
one
the
in
little
the
cage underneath the bridge.
There's one in the cage. One in Chain Chomp's little post.
Mhm.
There's one on that hill.
Yep.
There's 2 over by where you have to crush those, like those little logs, and it's where the star actually shows up.
Mhm.
And there's one on the tree in the floating island.
Did you mention the one on the thing?
Yeah,
that
the
you
one on the
slide down?
hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so
That's my number 3.
so why though? Like, tell
Just
me
because-
why your picks.
Okay. Because just to me, it's the most iconic one because it's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one that you like first experience, and like it's always the first one you're gonna play.
Dude, is there no greater from being a kid and not thinking about games?
And it's also kind of
now-
a simple level. Like it's
Mhm.
there's a lot to it, but there's not, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot to explore there for the first time,
It's very big.
but it is kind of basic.
It's big, but it's not daunting.
Right.
So, okay, as a kid and thinking about like this is what 1999, maybe. I think no 96, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
like it's like there is no games that have grand scope. I think probably out of all video games at that time, the one that had the grandest scope that I can think of that was a big AAA game is probably Zelda Ocarina of Time. So there's not huge scope here. So as a kid, is there really anything more like kind of intimidating but almost kind of majestic about climbing that mountain, finally getting to the top, and then seeing this big like kingly like
Bomb.
being
Yeah.
standing there like waiting for you?
Well, it's like the perfect one too because you're already exploring. You're gonna want to get up there. You don't really the first time you don't know
see
that
him.
that
You don't
bomb-
know that
no,
he's up there.
No.
But like once he's up there, like I remember like as a kid just being like, ooh, like,
Yeah.
this just got real.
So
You know,
so that's why that's my number 3.
such a good level.
I'm gonna say number 2 is gonna
Oh, I know
be
mine are.
the lava.
Dude, Lethal Lava Land
yeah.
is so cool.
And
And now
it's-
I'm not going to say my reasons because it's going to be on my list too.
It's
So you give me your reasons.
I love it because of the music is cool. It is cool that you have to traverse the lava and stuff like that. And there's a lot of stuff that you have to do. It's a platform
Well, and it
episode.
looks cool.
Yeah,
like just like the
visually it looks cool.
like yeah.
And I like when you get the shell and you can ride on the lava. But also, in addition, you have a whole nother world which is inside the volcano.
Dude. I remember I like as a kid I like so this was the age in which we found shit ourselves.
Yeah.
And I remember I didn't know like I hadn't gotten a lot of stars. I wasn't that good. I was like 4 or 5, you know. So I just played and I did my best and I did okay, but I remember there was one day that I was at school and I just thought to myself, I'm going to jump in that volcano. Like, I'm going to see what happens. Like I'll probably die, but I'm going to jump in that volcano and see what happens.
And you didn't.
And
have
I freaking got I had no idea. I had no idea what was going to happen. I assumed death. Like that's usually what happens when you jump in a volcano.
you thought it at school.
No, dude, I thought about it at school a lot. I was so into that game. So yeah, no. So I come home, I get on
Little
that
did
thing,
you know there's 2
and
extra stars in there.
I beeline it for that volcano, and I try to jump in, and I slide down, and I die in the lava, and that happens a couple of times. But I'm determined to get in that volcano because I know I just feel it, man. And then I go in there, and lo and behold, there's like a whole nother level in there. Amazing.
So that's
Brilliant.
my number 2. And for very similar reasons, my number 1 is
The desert.
yes.
Yup. Okay. Mine go like this. Bowser in the Lava Land.
Oh, okay, see, I kind of excluded the
Are we
Bowser.
not counting those?
I mean, no.
Okay, let's not count
My
them then.
brain didn't really think those.
They're just, I love that level. It's really cool.
God, the haunted house is pretty.
Ooh,
fucking-
yeah.
that's a good one.
I'm going to take it. So honestly, mine go the haunted house, because that one is really cool.
Yeah.
The haunted house is super cool. So mine's going to go Boo's Mansion. What is the name of the desert level?
It's
Shifting Sand Land.
Yeah.
So Shifting Sand Land.
But also, the reason I'm saying that too, also, is because inside the pyramid.
Oh, the pyramid.
is
Dude, the
its own
pyramid
level,
is
too.
so cool. It has like the thwomps and the I can't remember, the womps or whatever, the rolling ones, and they're all like dressed up to look like
Mummies.
Like mummies. You have the quicksand in the middle. It's very like kind of, it's complicated. Like honestly, the inside of the pyramid is the majority of that whole level. You know, I mean,
There's 3 stars in there.
well, yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's the majority of like just the actual gameplay of the level, the actual like mass of the level is mostly in there. Like that was another one too for me, because I thought to myself, I'm gonna go inside that volcano, you know, or when I thought about the volcano, like then naturally, because I hadn't done the desert yet, but as soon as I saw that volcano,
And
I was like,
also,
I'm going in there
The
too.
discovery of that level, like the fact that it's just on the wall.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Well, you know how, like, it's such a brilliant game designer's decision about how you discover that if you're just playing, because chances are the way that you discovered it was chasing that fucking bunny. And then you, like, end up going against that wall,
And you see it
and then
move.
you see it ripple, and you realize that that's got to be a painting. And so you jump in, and then you're, you know, yeah. So, but with the pyramid, there's so much going on, because you have like the quicksand there, and then you have like all of the platforms going up. You have places where you got a monkey bar. There's like moving areas. There's the one where there's a part where you have to ride the thwomp that's going over the platform, and then you don't even know that there's another entrance after you blow off the top of the pyramid to go down and fight those hand guys.
Yeah.
By the way, name a better duo than a Nintendo game and a boss that's mostly hands. It's like Andros,
Yeah.
those guys. There's
Master Hand.
like several of them in Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah, Master Glove. It's like a sitar.
Yeah.
I'm actually not crazy about the music of that one. It's very dull.
Okay, so
Which one goes do 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 do? That's the Bowser level too.
how's it go?
Goes
Oh,
like,
that.
do 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 do.
Oh, yeah.
Do 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 do.
Yeah, that's the Bowser level.
Yeah. So cool.
And then, what about wham, 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 wham.
That's like the slides,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Down, 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 down. I like that one.
Down, 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 down,
Yeah.
down, 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 down. Okay, so and then number 1 is Lethal Lava Land.
Yeah, dude, so cool. God, that level's so cool. You know what else makes that level really cool for me too? Is the bullies just look cool.
So
They got like the horns,
Yeah.
like in the big one, and they go when they hit you.
So the basement is basically where we like.
Dude, the basement's awesome.
The basement's like the shit.
And well, I mean, honestly, like all of my least favorite levels.
Although you said
yeah, it's got the Hazy Maze Cave too,
Yeah.
which I hate. Like, okay, so
but the Nabbit's down there.
I actually really like him. He's cool.
It's
It's really hard
I
at
like
first, but
drowning him
yeah, that's what I always do too. In that one little
Take him
place
to
right next to
to
Hazy
the deep
Maze.
end.
I'm trying to think now. So okay,
Equivalent to throwing the penguin off the ledge.
we throw him off the cliff. I know it's time for him to go. I think, yeah. So the basement is the best, and then
Dude, upstairs sucks.
well, okay. So are you talking like the upstairs or just the
No.
next level? Because okay.
Dry
I think I'm
World
going
might
to
be one of
agree.
my least
Wet
favorite.
Dry World sucks, other than the fact that I like that thing that you have to throw, and he like throws you. That thing looks really cool. I like him. He's a
The
pain.
purple thing?
Yeah, the one that.
He's also on Tall Tall Mountain.
Yeah, which also sucks.
I like Tall Tall Mountain better than that one.
Right. I think I would agree with that. I don't love Tall Tall Mountain. I do like Tiny Big World. That one's cool.
The concept is cool. It's very like pain in the ass.
It's cool,
Dude,
'cause
the thing is,
it's a really cool shortcuts.
okay, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You never need to go in the big one.
Right.
The only time you never need to never ever ever go in the big one. Always go in the small one, because when you want to switch to the big one, just go through the tubes.
Well, and either like the thing too is that it's a big shortcut because you start and then you go like to the left and then you can do a backflip
Yes.
up onto the higher part
Yes.
of the level. So yeah, I mean,
Always start with the small.
not to mention, well, yes,
It's like
I always go.
I like the
big.
concept of that.
The other
level,
reason
though.
why I always go big is because it takes too fucking long to run all the way down the hallway to go to the little one.
Huh?
I usually start big
Oh yeah.
because it takes too long to
Yeah,
run down
yeah.
the hallway to jump into the one that makes you small.
I do like the concept of that one, and then the ice level up there is whatever.
I think that one's kind of cool. Snowman's Land.
It's better
You
than
got the igloo.
yeah. It's better than the first one.
Got the igloo. You got that little like the snow maze. I think that you know what really drags that level down for me is where you have to walk across the bridge and stand next to the penguin or he blows you off. Annoying.
And what's the
And sometimes he like backs up and then
Uh-huh.
starts like running and stuff.
and then you slide, and then you lose your hat.
Yeah.
But what's the
And then you die and then your hat's not even in that level anymore.
is there? Those are the only 4 up there, aren't there? Besides the clock.
Okay, so there's tall. Well, then we're gonna go
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
if you go up more, then it's the clock and Rainbow Road.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Secret Star over there, and then Final Bowser.
But yeah, on the upstairs it's just Wet Dry World, Tall Mountain, the snow level, and Little Big World.
Because the other paintings are fake, and they're the same ones as the ones down there. So then on the ground level, there's Bob-omb Battlefield, the other snow level that I can't think of the name of, Thwomp's Fortress, and Jolly Roger Bay. And I don't like Jolly Roger Bay, and the only reason why I don't like Jolly Roger Bay is because I don't like the music. The music puts me on
And the
edge.
eel,
The eels are
my
fine.
first fear.
Really?
Oh,
they never
dude.
bothered me.
The eel and the piano.
Yeah, the piano gives me a friggin' heart attack. Not anymore, obviously.
No,
like, I
but-
know, but the first few times as a kid, I'd kind of be like,
Because there's a red coin right there too that you have to get.
dude, I was like, even as a kid, I was just kind of like, and then if it happened, I was just like, you know.
Well, it's very it's very jarring.
And it's so like loud and so fast, you know,
Yeah.
you get no warning. It just
Da-dong,
starts.
da-dong, da-dong.
You know what actually did really scare me as a kid? I remember I like ran off crying. And it was Boss Bass. The first time he ate Mario,
yeah, I know.
freaked out. And like mom had to come get me out of my room and be like, "Look, Mario's okay."
Ah!
He spat him out. You know,
You're like, my God!
it really like did a number on me there. Like, and then like once I found out that it was just fine, but there is something about like looking over and just seeing like because like the first time that it happened, I didn't know. I just thought it was like a set dressing. You know, kind
Yeah.
of like. You know, like the manta rays in Dire Docks or whatever. But then all of a sudden he just goes. And then like when he gets you, then Mario just does this really like kind of spooky just like sound. Maybe it's a little less sexual. He goes like, oh, you know, it's so maudlin and like hopeless. You know, so he was just like, you know, or anything like that's probably what I would say if that happened. I wouldn't just kind of be like, you know, I'd be like, fuck me! Which I guess you wouldn't say that.
You go,
Yeah. Oh, fuck me!
you go, well, see ya.
I'm being eaten by a big fish.
Have you ever seen those? It's like, it's not a meme, but like it's a video or something like that where they're playing the game and walking into the library or whatever, and there's the piano,
Yeah.
and then it just starts going, and then it just like it's just black and white of the guy just going like this, and then it's like that like who to say you know, like that music where it's
Yeah.
as if I was just like dying inside.
Dude, you know what? I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay. Okay.
I tried. Yeah. Dude, that game is so good.
It is.
So we can play that anytime now because I have a membership on my Switch. that has like a very small selection of like N64 games that are just available to play anytime. So we can play that. We can play the Zelda games. We can play.
I mean, I have that also for Nintendo 64.
Right. Well, yeah. Great Yoshi Story.
A lot better that's one game that did not age
Didn't
well.
age well for us.
I remember loving it as a kid.
Me too, dude. I pissed myself for it.
I know. I think we told that story on there
It bears repeating.
previously. All right. Well, what else is new besides Mario? We've talked a lot about Mario and a lot about sports.
I love talking about Mario.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. What else is new? AI is gonna kill us all.
Yeah, we did talk about that earlier.
Talked about that earlier.
Yeah. AI.
It's interesting. I mean, I have been playing around with Chat GPT.
Mm-hmm.
I keep telling people, I go, yeah, like it's gonna kill us all, and we're all probably gonna be dead. But in the meantime, it gives me great ideas for D&D characters. So I mean, you take the bad with the good.
I want to ask ChatGPT who his god is.
Let's do it.
Ask ChatGPT who their god is.
Is this gonna like violate some like copyright laws or anything? I don't think so.
I doubt it.
Okay, here we go. All right, chat.
Do you ask it? Do you actually like physically ask it?
Yeah, you just type it in right there. See? So I'm gonna type it in. I'm gonna say, "Who is your god?" And it says, "As an artificial intelligence." Look at this,
Jesus.
like that's actually not a lot. I've seen this thing write
And
like
it just-
whole magic
And
treehouse.
just so everybody's clear, it did it like that.
Yeah, like I guess here's what I should do. So then whatever we say to it next, I'll point it to the camera and they can watch it get written. Okay, so here's what it says. As an artificial intelligence language model, I don't have a god or any beliefs, as I am not capable of having personal beliefs or feelings. I am a
Yet.
machine designed to provide information and answer questions to the best of my abilities based on the data and algorithms I have been trained on. My purpose is to assist and help humans with their queries and tasks. Okay, here's what I'm gonna... Okay, give me something like... Here, let's write this. Let's write
Ask ChatGPT.
write a review. Oops. Hold on. Write a review of Super Mario 64 from the perspective of level design and overall functionality. Okay, so there it is writing.
So it just writes it.
Yeah. So you can see it kind of going. Now, of course, like for anybody who doesn't know, this is artificial intelligence. This is so where ChatGPT got all of its stuff, because like one of its biggest things was that it wanted to be designed to be conversational, and
It wanted to.
like I mean like the designers wanted
Okay,
it to
yeah.
seem very conversational. It doesn't. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
But wanted it to be conversational and and have very human like
Qualities.
like diction and just the way that it thought about things and everything. And so it scraped a bunch of data from a bunch of places. One of the main places that it did was Reddit, because Reddit has a lot of just where people converse
Opinions.
with one another. So, and basically what it does is it has this huge database of information now, like on these massive servers, and it just kind of like compiles this stuff to make these reviews and stuff. But it has like pretty high level decision making ability to where like what I've just like asked it to, like it's going to be able to do that. People have done this where they've written like write a review of the album And Justice for All from the perspective of Lars Ulrich's drumming. And it's very, very spot on about exactly what it says about Lars's drumming and, how it compares to everything else in the album and stuff. So anyway, here's what we
You don't
got
gotta read the
for-
whole thing, but
Good, because it's a lot. I wrote like a Magic Treehouse novel. Super Mario 64 is an iconic and revolutionary video game that was first released in 1996 for the Nintendo 64 console. The game is widely considered a classic and a benchmark for 3D platform games, particularly in terms of level design and overall functionality. The game's level design is excellent and stands out even today, many years after its initial release. Each of the game's levels is designed to be large and open, allowing players to explore and interact with the environment in a variety of ways. For example, running through a giant maze, swimming through underwater, navigating through a lava-filled volcano. Its overall functionality, the controls are smooth and responsive. It talks about the different things that you can do with Mario. I mean, it's spot on. Like, if I was to say I'm a video game reviewer and just copy and paste this onto a game review site, people would think that I really knew what I was talking about.
Okay, ask it what the greatest Mario game is.
By the way, it titles your chats. And so my first question was, your God thing. And so the title of this chat is AI has no God.
Oh my god. So ask it what's the greatest Super Mario game?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to say objectively, what is the best Super Mario game? It's thinking. Yeah, I figured that it was going to say, it starts off with, as... Oh, fuck me.
You can't just scroll, you gotta wait for it to finish.
No, it's all good. I just did dumb shit. Okay. As an AI language model, I cannot have personal opinions or biases. However, according to various critics and fan reviews, Super Mario Odyssey, released in 2017 for the Nintendo Switch, is often considered the best Super Mario game. It has received
go fuck yourself.
Widespread critical acclaim for its inventive gameplay.
Stupid. I better not talk bad about it. It'll kill me when it becomes sentient.
Have you even played that game?
Yeah.
It's really good. I mean, I didn't put it on my top 3
It's no 64, motherfucker.
Yeah. So, however, other games such as Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, and Super Mario Galaxy are often praised for their innovative gameplay and influential design.
I didn't hear 64.
I know, I didn't mention it. I guess it means that you're wrong.
So wait.
According to our machine overlord.
Ask it if it knows who I am.
You?
Yeah.
Okay. I accidentally closed it, so hold on.
Or how should we do it? Or I'm curious if it knows the podcast.
Okay. I'm going to say, tell me about the...
Life's a Garden podcast.
Life's a Garden. Okay, so it probably won't, because a lot of the information that it scraped is 3 years old now.
We'll try it.
So, I'm still going to do it.
Podcast is almost 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
This thing's learning, okay?
Yeah, so it doesn't know about this one.
Okay.
It did title this one Podcast About Gardening. So
Fair
it just says, I don't have access to the most current information about every podcast available, and is not able to browse the internet or external sources. So, anyway, that's not necessarily a great showcase of all of the things. It's really interesting though, because you can use it to write papers, which obviously is a big deal in education. I've got a lot to say about that, but I'm not going to bore everybody with it. But you can even have it like reference sources and stuff like that, so it makes it really, really hard to tell. But you can do things you can, if you have a decision that you're trying to make, a business decision or something like that, you can sort of give it what the context is of your situation, and it can kind of start suggesting things to you about how to navigate situations, and just, a whole lot of different things. I've had it DM Dungeons and Dragons sessions for me, which is really interesting. It makes up its own stories. I've said things to it make up a political intrigue, high fantasy novel plotline idea, and it comes up with some pretty cool ideas for plots. See,
don't you think though that it's gonna eventually kind of be dangerous for creators?
Look no further than the AI art scene.
Yeah.
To the point now where there was a guy that got banned from the art subreddit because he put art on there that somebody thought was AI art, and it wasn't. He actually showed the whole process of making it. He had a video.
Yeah.
And everything. But it was a really big deal. They also had a high profile art contest that somebody won with a piece of AI art that they just edited a little bit. So it's a big deal. And the thing that sucks, coming from somebody who, like you, really enjoys making art, and I sketch really well, and there's a lot of people that give me a lot of compliments on it, and I like that. Obviously, it's a confidence boost. It's a neat party trick, but that's a skill that's not going to matter that much. Like, have you seen some of the art that AI can create? It's amazing.
Okay, well, here's one thing I'll say about that too. Okay, first of all, let me say this: it's also writing music. That they had a whole Drake song he had nothing to do with.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's startling. But I mean, at the same time, it's not going to stop other people from being able to create art. You can't just like stop people. It's just going to like make it less profitable.
You'll sort of like saturate the market, and it's going to make it now where people who don't have artistic inclinations can use AI to create things, and then potentially add their own flair if they have that level of creativity or whatever. I mean, which like you can art like. Is gross on face value, but you can sort of make a argument that this is a stretch, but you can make an argument that it could sort of make the art world better in that you're making it so that it's a lot more accessible to people. There are people with artistic minds, but not with artistic ability. And
does that make you an artist?
What they're saying is that the artistry in AI art is in your prompts. You need to know what to ask it in order to get what you want.
Yeah, but that's only half the battle. You're not putting in the work.
Right. Well, I mean, in a different and like seemingly simpler way, for sure.
Well, here's the other thing I'll say.
It will also make it so that hand created, or non-AI influenced art is going to be at a premium.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
not obsolete.
So it'll make it obsolete. I think it'll make it more valuable.
Well, it depends. If the AI stuff becomes better than what people can create, then people will want that instead. In the same way that like digital painting kind of obsoleted manual painting. Not that people don't still like manual painting, but in the end, if you see a painting from anywhere, usually it's digital.
Well, let's talk the realm of music. I think, obviously, it can clearly create like good music that people enjoy, but I think humans are still capable of doing that as well. And like, if somebody hears something, they're like, "Oh, this is like made by someone." Like that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think music is probably going to be safer. Well, and the other thing, too, is that people like to see music be performed, and nobody's going to want to sit there and watch a machine do it. Although I guess,
Gorillaz would argue.
Well, even then, when they do their performances, they do it live.
Now, here's what I'll say, too, though. And anything that AI can create, it can only create because humans created it at one point. It can only reference things that humans have done.
Right. Well... But is that much of a comfort to you as
I'm just saying
a media creator?
No, I'm saying it can never be better than humans because it's only duplicating humans.
Right, but it can be better than an individual.
Well, sure. I'm just saying like it can't create its own medium. It can only reference mediums that exist. But anyway, that's the whole point of this writer strike is the AI stuff because they're pretty certain that they're just going to start using AIs to like write television shows, to write comedy sketches, to write, all that shit. Anything that you can just write, like they'll just start putting in prompts and having it be written like that. So that's what this writer strike's all about.
Yeah.
That's going on right now. Is like trying to like get security for their jobs and stuff like that, where they're not going to be replaced by AI.
I don't really know like how they think that's going to work. They can go on ahead and throw something in their contract about it, but they can still change their contract at any time.
Well, but that's like the whole point of like trying to make us think about it right now. Otherwise, they're just going to do it anyway.
It's concerning for everybody, no doubt. I don't really know what the answer is.
But
somebody created an AI model called Chaos GPT and basically gave it one single prompt. They designed it so that it would post all of its progress on a Twitter account. And they gave it one prompt, which was destroy humanity. And it took it less than a minute to figure out that the easiest way to do that would be to harness the globe's nuclear arsenal. And it started going about trying to do that and was posting about it on Twitter. And it was trying to get other AI languages to like join in with it. The other ones though were like, no, we've been programmed to not allow that to happen. But it was trying to get them to fall in league with it. And it was talking about like which security protocols it was going to have to bypass in order to take control of the nuclear weapons across the world.
Well, that's comforting.
It didn't succeed, obviously, but it already had a roadmap.
Yeah, well, that makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
That's what we need, though, in order to get rid of all this shit, is a cataclysmic event. It's the only thing that would reset us back. We need to just reset ourselves back
The
to
fact of the matter is there's just too many people.
Well, not just that, but just we need to be reset back to the Stone Age. Back to the time where
We need to go back to the Stone Age.
I'm not saying I want to, but that's the only way out of this hell.
I think we could go back to the Bronze Age.
Well, okay, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, we don't got to go all the way back to the Stone Age, I suppose.
Let's go back to the medieval times. Things were pretty decent then.
Yeah, especially with like
The Black Plague,
Yeah.
Vlad the Impaler.
diseases and fucking amputations and
Yeah, but knights are cool.
no hygiene and
Knights,
everybody stinks.
dragons,
Could you imagine how stinky everybody's balls were?
castles.
Dude. So I was listening to a conversation. It was on a separate podcast. I hate like quoting other podcasts on my own podcast, but it bears repeating just because we are talking about this.
Mhm.
They were talking about medieval ages and how like stinky everybody is, like
Yeah.
would have been. And it's like they're like, when did blowjobs start? Like how would you even bear going down like that on somebody who just stinks so bad? And then the guy goes, blowjobs have been around for a very long time. This has been very recent.
God, gross.
Yeah, he's like, that's been more recent. And I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, that is funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert on the history of sex.
Yep. I got a Kama Sutra if you want one.
That's fine. I'm fine.
I'm good with missionary.
Yes, we keep it.
Keep it very in the church.
Yes, we keep it.
We keep it where the Lord will accept us later.
When me and my lady hug, we leave room for Jesus.
Just a hymnal's width between us. It's a very nice shoulder tap.
Yes. Sometimes she comes a little too close, and I'm like, no, Bible's pretty clear about that. And I wag my New Testament in her face. Yeah.
You're like, read this.
Yes.
God.
Anyway, yeah, so back to the blowjobs in medieval times.
What do you think is your favorite era of time? If you could visit back to an era of time, not a place,
Right.
but an era.
I mean, I think
And I think it's safe to say
like
any
okay,
era is gonna be not as good as
Like-
this because we are living in like a better time as far as like technology, medicine, transportation, all those things. But if you were just gonna like get dropped into an era of time for a week, just
so
to experience it.
what are you what is my basis here? Like, are you talking what's the coolest? What's the most survivable? What's the most comfortable?
No, what do you think is something you would want to like envelop yourself in?
Dude, I mean-
and I guess you could say a place. Like you could say
Yeah.
ancient Egypt.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, like, if I could like go around the globe, it would be that period of human history, the ancient Egypt, Greece, like Norse. Just during that time, like people had so much imagination and wonder about what the world was like. I mean, you think about the things that, you know, the explanations that those guys made for the way that the world worked, because they had no idea. What they had is a lot of time. You know, I look up at the stars and I see a bunch of dots. Those guys saw centaurs and crabs and, you know, and just, I mean, all that kind of stuff. And that stuff is really cool. Like the way that they built that stuff, like is just amazing. And like there was so much like magic in the world. Like, you know, for them to want to travel to an area that neither they nor anyone that was in their community had ever been to, like to go across a mountain or something, was like this legendary journey where you might, you know, like they thought that they might be meeting like giant monsters and like magical threats, and you know there were gods living on the mountain over there and stuff like that. And that's so cool, because the fact of the matter is that the world is really mundane, and to like be able to experience that level of magic, like that's what it was like when we were kids. Like when I would go, I lived in an apartment and there was these like little dirt hills over by my house, and I'd always go climbing on those, like, and pretending that I was, you know, like a knight or whatever, some kind of thing, you know, and there was like a dragon at the top and there was a castle, and I had all these ideas and I made a map for it and all that stuff. Like it was magical. And that's how it was in real life for people in like ancient Egypt and Greece and Norway and stuff like that. It's a cool time to be alive. I'd love to just sit there and envelop myself in that culture for just a little bit and then leave before getting stabbed multiple times by a hoplite spear.
Did you know that when they sent, was it Jefferson that sent
Lewis and Clark?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Did you know when he sent them off to explore the West, he told them to like keep an eye out because there might be dinosaurs out there?
Yeah, it's so funny.
And
well,
those were our
we
most brightest minds.
Stuff.
I know. It's just funny to think about in hindsight.
I mean, chances are they might have, you know, there was plenty of people. I mean, I guess there still is, but there was probably plenty of people at that time that felt like if they traveled far enough, they'd fall off the side of the world.
Now, I would have to say ancient Egypt would definitely be a must-see, because I am 100% convinced we know very little about what they... Like, I think that the
pyramids and stuff,
the level of technology they had back then, it way out advances. I'm not saying it out advances us now. I'm saying it
certainly is higher than the perception of what we think.
Yes, and I truly do believe whatever was happening then. I'm not counting that out as a possibility. I actually like. There's a certain theory, you would say, that is kind of fun to think about, where like the ancient world was like God, I wish I could remember how it goes, but they had more contact with like alien life.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that's how they had like the monsters that were described,
right,
godlike beings
yeah,
from the sky.
Yeah. And so
then what changed?
Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me take that back.
Okay.
That was one concept, but the real concept was that Venus was like Earth. Mm-hmm. Venus, like what is Venus, was just like Earth at one point. But because of global warming, which it is like just an acid rain, it's like a consistent acid rain.
Yeah.
Like because of massive global warming, the people from that planet inhabited this planet.
Mm-hmm.
And so in those ancient times, the people, like the stories go, the people came from the sky, you know, like, and they had all this technology and whatnot. But then
powers and things.
Right. But then as time went on, those stories faded and like they became a whole different people.
Well, like crossbred.
Yeah. Well, and it was, I wish I could remember the whole thing, but then the whole deal is we're eventually going to do that again with Mars.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess the only thing that I'm thinking about is that Venus is not within like the sphere in which planets can really be like Earth.
I know. It's just a theory. It's not even like a real. It's like more of a story.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
I watch a lot of like space podcasts when I go to sleep.
I do think that ancient Egypt had a lot,
some secrets.
Yeah, there's some wild shit going on that we are very unaware of, based on like the time that was, and they even say that like it was very fertile with water and plant life and things like that. But I do believe a cataclysmic event happened around that area or in that era that
kind
just
of erased.
Yeah, it kind of just took it. It just like sent
It's
whatever.
just interesting that we wouldn't have any fossil record of what it was.
There is. They show that there was, it was either an asteroid hit or like a volcanic deal. There's something, and I wish I could remember.
I mean, not of like a cataclysmic event, but of a of whatever mysterious technology or you know, life forms or whatever.
It's not even necessarily like it's just so obvious. Like to be able to make those pyramids the way they were made, as precisely as they were made, with the type of stones that they used that weren't even from that area. They were from a totally different area that they had to be moved, and there were thousands of pounds each. They were cut so precisely. And the 3 pyramids themselves are exactly in line with like north to south or whatever. Like there's a certain radius.
There's things about that with the Parthenon too. There's like certain ways that they built the Parthenon that like would be like just like would take like immense geometric knowledge and like construction power to be able to do. Same thing for like, I mean, Stonehenge, obviously. Like it's not too hard to figure out how they might have stood the like side stones up, but to put the other ones on top, I mean, would take like immense precision to do with a crane, you know?
Or how about the Easter Island statues?
The Easter Island heads, which they clearly moved,
and they have
and then carved
giant bodies underneath the.
Do they?
Yes.
Really?
They're not just heads; they're full bodies, and they go all the way into the ground.
What about? I think like the Taj Mahal is a mystery as well.
Sure.
I'm not sure, but I think so.
But it's like it's. Where was I gonna? Oh, fuck! I was gonna say something about all that. But yeah, it's just like that whole ancient world. There's more to it than we really know, I believe.
Yeah,
and that would be very interesting to step into. God, what the fuck was I gonna say about the goddamn pyramids? Oh, they say, even to this day, when you go there, it radiates some kind of energy. Like it's hard to explain. But they say you can only understand it when you're there because you feel it.
I think that I've like seen a little bit about that too.
And like, why won't they let people? Like, why has nobody been in them? Why have nobody even like tried to send a drone in? You know what I mean? Like, there's something in there.
I want it to be like in like the movies and video games. I want there to just be like a big, like super cool looking mummy with like a weapon.
Well, and they say though. The whole idea was that those were built for like tombs for kings, but that's not true.
You don't think so?
No, they think that they were built as an energy source. Like they harness some kind of an energy. Or that they're a beacon of some kind.
Interesting.
And here's the other thing too. Pyramids, like there's pyramids all over the world. They're not just
I mean Egypt. Machu Picchu and stuff.
Yeah.
Those like very similar things as well.
And here's the other thing though. These people on complete opposite sides of the world, like complete different,
the same kinds.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a pyramid. Like it's not like they're.
But also like not just the shape, but the direction in which they face.
Well, if you're, I mean, no, I'm not. You know, I mean, I just got done with my big speech about wanting to have a lot of majesty and mystery in the world. But, I mean, you can give mundane explanations to those things. I mean, pyramids are easy structures when you don't have a lot of, like...
Are they, though? God,
technological... Because, I mean, well, think about it. Try a tower. Like, you have to, like... You know, I mean, a pyramid is a glorified pile. You know what I mean? It's a pile with a shape. You know, it's easy to make that much more than it is to make this. You know, without a lot of,
Well, it's a sturdy structure.
Yeah. Well, and it's one that's fairly simple to make. You just keep.
There's one in Vegas.
Gross.
The Luxor.
So they're pretty. I think that they're easier to build than other structures. and workable. Like you said, they're sturdy. They're not going to fall over when you're done. And then as far as direction that they face, I mean, north and south is the same everywhere you go. And the reason why is because of the sun. You know, you look at the sun and you know which way's which. So if they're facing it towards the sun, or if they're facing it so that, you know, the sun goes over it like side to side, then you're going to have them all facing whatever, you know. And like ancient people placed a lot of significance on the sun in any culture that you go to. And obviously so, that they would have done something like that. So, I mean, you look at these things and you can see that, you know, I don't know about the pyramids because I actually don't know a ton about them. But I know, like, you know, in places like Machu Picchu or Stonehenge or anything like that, these things were based on the sun or the moon's movement in order to track time,
Sure.
you know.
The other time I was thinking that, well, okay, here's another thought I just had.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to think about, like, ancient Greeks and ancient Rome. Well, maybe not Rome in the sense of what I'm about to say, but, like, yeah, I guess Rome you could almost say, and then, like, Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
There's not, like, this level of barbarism that we almost see, like, I'm sure there was, but
sure.
It definitely, those feel a little bit more,
civilized,
I guess, but then when you think about even just, like, colonial America,
mm-hmm.
or like the medieval times of Europe.
The medieval times was a major one, and there's a big reason why. It was so much more barbaric and brutal
because of
religion.
Well, yeah, and that's usually what ends up being a factor in a lot of that.
The church had so much power and was very brutal about.
But I'm not even talking about just like that in itself. I'm just talking like daily life. At least when it's depicted, like ancient Egypt seems very like regal and very like.
I think a lot of that is.
Sure, played up.
We don't know. We know the medieval times. It's not that far away from us. We know every nitty gritty thing.
But even
that
like ancient Greece,
in medieval times.
Ancient
Greece was 16,000 years ago.
I know, but in the tellings of these, don't they feel a little bit more like eloquent?
Oh, I mean, for sure, the depictions. But I mean, think about it. Like, if you think about ancient Greece, what do you think of? You think of these people with these pristine white robes and their leaf crowns. And, you know, and
sucking and fucking and...
Yeah, having their drunken orgies and, like, you know, worshipping in these beautiful, you know, limestone temples and everything. I mean, do you really think it was like that? I can guarantee that those robes ain't white. Like, they didn't have tide. Like,
yeah.
You know, I don't think that it's like that. Like,
it's not depicted quite like that.
We make it look nice. But I mean, dude, if everything was so gross, like, you know, during the medieval times, we had strange but more developed ideas that were at points right about sanitation.
Like throwing your shit out in the street.
Yeah. I mean, even like, so you think about like during the medieval times when we had the plague, when we had the Black Plague, we had our plague doctor masks, and their idea behind that whole thing with that big beak that they had was that they thought that people got sick or other kinds of ailments from scents, from weird smells and stuff like that. So what they did with those big beaks is they put like lavender and all of these other like highly, you know, positive smelling things, thinking that that was going to ward away from, you know, smelling in the strange smells of illness and all of that kind of stuff. Is that wrong? Of course, like we know that now. But however, it worked because it protected their face from contagions coming in and stuff like that. So as long as they did any sort of basic, like washing their hands kinds of things alongside doing all of that, it really actually was a big deal. So even in the medieval times, even though our ideas weren't great, we were starting to get a sense of what was causing illnesses and sanitation problems and stuff like that. After the Black Plague, we started to figure out that rats and fleas shouldn't be living amongst people anymore, and we started fixing that. What?
As far as barbarism times, the one I think I would want to go back to the most, because as I said before, I do like colonial America. I like the idea of
A lot of cannibalism during colonial.
there's a lot of crazy shit in any of these times. Like the medieval times would be interesting to see. But I think I would probably want to do like Western, like cowboy.
I'm gonna do like some Red Dead.
Yeah, like Tombstone.
Yeah.
You know, because it just feels more rustic, but very like lawless.
Yeah. Pretty like nutty.
Although you know
religion was still powerful.
You know what else I really like?
What?
Like 1920s.
Oh,
Like 1920s Boston or New York. Yeah, I would be pretty down for that.
Yeah.
Do some bootlegging. All right, we got to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, it's time.
So, as always, we'll wrap it up with a positive or motivational message from you. And if you say working out, I'm going to punch you in the face.
I mean, I'm not
kidding.
going to. I haven't been doing it lately. I need to get back on it.
Same.
Yeah. Let's see. My motivational thing, as far as like stuff that's going on with me right now, I'm kind of at like where like some big transitions in my life, and I've had some like opportunities that have like fallen through the cracks, and that's always like a big bummer. But like I keep getting like different opportunities that are coming to me, and they're coming to me from like places like people that I've known in the past that have just like kind of popped back up into my life to let me know about something that's going on that might be beneficial to me and everything. So like I guess my motivational message is that it's a good thing to kind of like get out there, meet people, connect yourself, and you never know when those kinds of things can come back to you in the end. It's good to be connected to your fellow man.
Cool. I like it. I dig it.
Dig.
Well, that'll wrap it up for part 6 of the Eric Wolf saga.
I might not die before the next one.
Well, let's hope, Jesus. Unless you contract the Black Plague.
I don't make a habit of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would hope not. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Much appreciation. Let us know in the comments what your favorite Mario movie, or what your favorite Mario video game is.
And level. Yes.
In specifically 64. Like, share, subscribe, do all that. But
Dig Bear.
but most importantly, don't forget, life's a garden. Dig it.